Hello everyone and welcome to my Bachelor Nation 24 channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Todd Chrisley said they were not convicted by jury of his peers. Reality star Todd Chrisley is stating that he and his wife, Julie Chrisley, were not convicted by a jury of his peers. They were sentenced to a total of 19 years behind bars, with him to serve 12 and Julie to serve 7. The couple has since been pardoned and released. But what does Todd have to say about the conviction? Keep reading for more details. Todd Chrisley, not convicted by jury of his peers. When Todd Chrisley was released from prison after serving just over 2 years, he made it clear that he had done nothing wrong. He appeared at a press conference with his lawyer and his daughter, Savannah Chrisley. Some wondered if he would take any accountability for his crimes. He maintained that he and his wife, Julie Chrisley, had been wrongly convicted. More so, they were not going to apologize for something out of their control. Now he has continued to speak up and out and is sharing who really convicted the duo. Along with Julie and Savannah, Todd appeared in an interview with Juju Chang. She mentioned how a jury of their peers had convicted them, and some feel they did not serve their time. That baffled him, as he did not feel that it was an accurate statement. He claimed that he did not see people in similar positions, such as multimillionaires and those in the film industry. Rather, he saw a jury made up of people from a heavily Democratic county. Therefore, they were not Todd's peers or those who had been in his shoes. Upon his release, Todd Chrisley stated that it was somewhat of a witch hunt. Moreover, he believed that he and his family were unfairly targeted. Yet after he stated that it was not a jury of his peers and challenged Juju Chang, followers were stunned. They could not believe how he was reacting and how he still refused to be humble. Take it down, Todd. Viewers have long followed the Chrisley family, as they have long had their own reality series. They also have had various different ventures, with everything coming to a head in 2022. By January 2023, Julie and Todd Chrisley headed to their respective prisons. They were then pardoned in May 2025, and fans feel that Todd needs to take it down a notch. His attitude left little to be desired, and those who saw his interview with Juju Chang had a lot to say. Some could not understand what a political affiliation had to do with his conviction. If he and his wife had done something wrong, politics should have stayed out of it. Unfortunately, Todd Chrisley does not feel that way, and he has made it very clear. Hopefully, he can see some of what fans have been saying and take it in for the better. From the sterile cinderblock walls of a federal prison chapel, Todd Chrisley sat tall in a metal folding chair, crisp Bible in one hand, fire in his eyes. His voice, both defiant and composed, echoed slightly as he addressed a group of prison ministry volunteers and one invited journalist from a faith-based magazine. They say you get a jury of your peers, Todd began, adjusting the gold wedding band he hadn't taken off since the sentencing. But I don't know one person on that jury who looked like me, thought like me, lived like me, or even understood what our lives were really about. It was the first time since his incarceration that Todd had spoken publicly about the people who found him and Julie guilty of tax evasion and bank fraud. For months, his family, especially daughter Savannah, had maintained the public face of the Chrisley brand. But now, with time settling like dust over his sentence, Todd seemed ready to break the silence. They didn't get us, he continued, voice thick with conviction. They weren't our neighbors, our friends, our community. They were people handpicked from a pool that knew one thing about us: what the media fed them. A couple of sound bites, some out-of-context statements, and a whole lot of edited reality TV. His voice cracked slightly, not from weakness, but from restrained frustration. Julie, in a parallel federal facility hundreds of miles away, had echoed similar sentiments in letters shared with family. In one of them, she wrote, "We weren't tried by people who knew what it means to build something from nothing, to fight for family, to survive media storms, and to still hold hands in prayer. We were judged by strangers who thought we were cartoons. The jury didn't see them as a loving Southern family trying to keep it all together. They saw characters. Flamboyant, flashy, filtered. Not humans, not peers. They didn't understand our lifestyle. Todd said, his voice rising slightly. Not in a bad way. I'm not judging them. But how could they grasp the pressures of being public figures? How could they truly relate to running businesses in the public eye, juggling TV contracts, agents, brand deals, and still keeping a roof over our heads for our children and our mama? The chapel was silent. Even the volunteers leaned in now, some clutching their Bibles tighter. Todd tapped his temple. Let me be clear. I'm not saying we were perfect. I'm not even saying we didn't make mistakes. But we were judged by people who had already made up their minds before they heard a single word in court. That's not justice. That's a scripted tragedy. What Todd was suggesting wasn't just an unfair verdict. He was questioning the foundation of the entire process that led to his and Julie's incarceration. He didn't call out the judge or even the prosecutors. No, his grievance was with the promise of the Sixth Amendment, that every American has the right to a fair trial by a jury of their peers. He paused, folding his hands. Peers don't just share your zip code or skin color. They share your values, your walk, your war wounds. My peers know the cost of building a family business. They know what it's like to hustle hard and still pray harder. They wouldn't have seen a celebrity. They'd have seen a father, a husband, and yes, a sinner saved by grace. This message wasn't just about vindication. It was a reclamation of voice. Back at home, Savannah had already started laying the foundation for her parents' appeal, often echoing Todd's perspective during podcast interviews and Instagram live sessions. The jury didn't see my dad the way we do, she told followers in a recent post. They saw headlines. We saw a man up at 5 a.m. making breakfast before filming. We saw someone who gave more than he took. That's who he really is. As Todd wrapped up his speech in the chapel, a fellow inmate nodded solemnly. For the first time, the room didn't see him as that TV guy. They saw someone wrestling with the same broken system they knew too well. God knows the truth, Todd said quietly, his voice softer now. And in time, I believe the world will too. He closed the Bible and stood, giving a faint smile to the journalists seated in the front row. His words weren't meant for headlines, though they would likely become one. They were meant for the system, for the hearts and minds on the outside who still questioned whether justice had really been served. And as he walked out of that small chapel into the stark grayness of the prison yard, there was a sense that Todd Chrisley was no longer trying to convince America of his innocence. He was reminding it that fairness isn't found in verdicts. It's found in the humanity of the people who decide them.